This video has been a long time coming and it's a weird one, but I am so excited I can finally show you. No joke, I think this is my favorite video I've ever made. So back in spring of 2021, I decided to switch to Bottom Tree Voidwalker, or as I like to say, Devourlock plus Blink Jump. And I kept it on for like 3 or 4 months. I kept on Blink and Devour for basically an entire season. I call it Blink Devourlock, and I really mean I kept it on throughout the season because I used it through all PvP activities like Rumble, Survival, and Trials, and through all PvE activities, every raid, Grandmaster Nightfall, and even on patrol. And I'm so happy I did because it is some of the most fun I have ever had in Destiny, and it made me a much better player. Now, I get it, this is a hard pivot from my last video, which was wildly successful for me, so maybe it's pretty foolish for me to post this weird video right afterwards, but I just couldn't not post this now that it's finally ready to go. So here's the story of my experience with Blink Devourlock. I'm going to talk about what it is and how it works, how to play it effectively, and then I'm going to get a little philosophical about subclasses in Destiny, their identity, and the driving force behind why you play this game, why I play this game, and why it's really important to never forget it. I hope you'll stick around and listen to my story because this took months to make and it was honestly super fun. We'll get back to regularly scheduled programming after this video. Alright, here we go. Okay, first of all, let's sink our teeth into how incredibly fun this class is and what defines it. There's no other class like Blink Devourlock. It is extremely unique, extremely fun, and it offers so much potential. Let's talk about Blink first because it's so iconic in the Destiny world. Blink was in Destiny 1, and originally Blade Dancer hunters could use it as well as warlocks. If I remember correctly, the lore states that the hunters actually learned it from the warlocks. It had a reputation back in the day when people would pair it with a shotgun, of course, to close the gap really quickly and get a one-hit kill. Blink shotgunning was like a legit, real strategy people actually used, and it worked a lot of the time. And because everyone was playing on console, this was really hard to counter because it took a while to turn your head and react to fast movement like hunter jumps or blinking warlocks. They'd just disappear if they wanted to. But these days in Destiny 2, Blink Jump is only available to Void Warlocks. Sorry hunters, you can only blink if you have a terrible connection. One more. Oh my god. But anyway, on your Void Warlock, this means you can pair Blink with top tree, the attunement of Chaos, better known as Slova Bomb, the middle tree, attunement of Fission, better known as Nova Warp, and then of course attunement of Hunger, the bottom tree, which is where I spent most of my time enjoying the Devour ability. While Nova Warp and Slova Bomb intrinsically work really well for either PvP or PvE respectively, the Devour tree is good in both. It's the bridge between the two. Attunement of Hunger is defined by that one ability, Devour, which allows you to get a super kill, a melee kill, or to consume your grenade, and then nearly instantly you get all of your health and shields back, which is incredibly powerful. And then on top of that, every subsequent kill you get while Devour is active gives you all of your health and shields back and gives you a hefty chunk of grenade energy back. The potential here is incredible. In PvE, it makes you basically invincible if you can prioritize your targets correctly, and there's a reason a lot of people use this tree specifically for soloing dungeons like Prophecy, which is no easy task. But in PvP, you turn into an absolutely ravenous beast where your hunger is insatiable. The more you stare into the bottom tree void and it stares back, when you proc Devour, you feel this intense excitement and a sense of opportunity and bloodlust overcome you, hungry for kill after kill after kill, because you know that you're going to get all of your health back instantly and go on an absolute rampage if you can pull it off. Essentially, when you eat your grenade, you're suddenly playing momentum control, where you get full health back on every kill and you are a monster hunting for a 7th column and everyone else is just your prey, playing normal control. And the best part is, it's all up to you. The thrill of Devour is unmatched, especially when paired with Blink. And on top of that, it is actually pretty good in competitive 3v3 modes, especially because so few people are used to dealing with Devour. Like, if you see a Warlock blinking towards you very quickly, you can easily team shoot it down, but what's that? Oh, it got a slug shotgun kill on your friend? Well, suddenly it's at full health again and it's charging for you now and you need to DPS it all over again. Trust me, Devour can seriously change the tide of rounds in Trials or Survival if it's in the hands of a smart player, because the confidence and opportunity for playmaking there is just so high, and the very poor understanding of Devour within the Destiny community means that you can seriously catch people off guard and come back to win rounds. But this brings up an important point, and that's that not every player in Destiny is highly skilled with Devour or Blink. Honestly, maybe like 20 people in the world are, and I am not one of them. So we rarely see it used to its full wrathful potential, and for that reason the community views Blink Devourlock as just mediocre in PvP. And I can understand that. If something is very hard to use, even if it has an incredibly high skill ceiling and reward for mastery, it really won't become that popular. It needs to be easy and powerful, not difficult and powerful. And no, I don't view the Icarus dash as having a high skill ceiling. While good players prefer high movement classes, of course, that doesn't mean Top Tree Dawn or Hunter head bouncing defines a quote-unquote movement skill gap or some sort of silly idea like that. Top players make Top Dawn look top tier, yes, and it is, but that's not because it's hard to master, that's because it's just organically very good, and these players make any class look good. There are other classes that they could simply spend time on and make those broken as well. It just so happens most of them pick Top Dawn because it's kind of easy and really fun. But when it comes to Blink, Devour, and Nova Bomb, that shit ain't easy at all. It may be fun, but it is not easy. You want to feel a high skill ceiling in Destiny? Throw on Blink for a while and you'll realize how much you have to learn about Destiny. While Stasis subclasses probably have one of the lower skill ceilings out there, like they're just very rewarding to anyone, and Top Dawn is maybe a bit higher because you have to learn to press air move and jump at the same time. When it comes to Blink, Jesus, you could spend 2 years on Blink and still have more to master. But honestly, even if you're like me and you've only scratched the surface of how cool Blink movement is in Destiny, I think you'd really enjoy learning the nuances and mastering them to make some of the sickest plays of your life. Okay, let's talk about how Blink works, which is extremely weird, and then let's talk about our identity as Destiny players and how that answer for me has changed over time. That's the part I'm really excited to share with you. So Blink is weird. That's the TLDR of it. It's weird, but you can learn to control it just like your emotions. After your first short hop, when you press jump again, you'll blink. If you press the jump button back to back as fast as you can, you'll just instantly teleport straight up in the air. If you press jump and wait until your character is falling straight down, you'll teleport straight down. But you can't go through things, even if it feels like you are sometimes. You need a clear path. On top of this, Blink takes into account your direction and speed, so if you're moving forward, you will always blink forward. At any point in that 180-degree angle in front of you, of straight up and straight down, that's fair game for Blink. So if you press jump exactly halfway through your short hop and you're sprinting forward, you'll go straight forward. And then you can tune that with really precise timing to angle your trajectory up or down. Here's a pretty simple graph from the Destinypedia site showing how Blink trajectory works. Long story short, it takes a lot of skill and time to get really precise with the timing and know exactly where you're sending yourself when you teleport, but once you get it down, it's so much fun. I still have a lot to learn, obviously, but I am quite proud to share that I've blinked through every raid in Destiny, even through the jumping puzzles without dying. I feel like that's the equivalent of graduating Blink College, but of course you blinkers out there feel free to correct me with what Blink's true test of skill is. The reason I said Blink is so weird is because what it's doing when it teleports you is pretty funky, and there's still more I have to learn about the mechanics as well as the strategy, but my buddy Daedalus, who is a Blink main and slays out in our community scrims using Blink, explained to me that it's rubber banding you essentially when you blink. It stretches your hitbox into 2 locations, where you were and where you're ending, and due to this unfortunate latency, you can actually shoot a Warlock who has already finished blinking if you time it right and shoot where they used to be. That's why it can be really frustrating for Blink masters when they executed the movement correctly and nearly pulled off something cool, but due to the latency in the game, they still got domed by a sniper. But this is a part of some video games out there when it comes to latency. You can be like fully in cover on your screen, but on your opponent's screen, you were visible for a moment and they can still shoot you. It's truly very frustrating, and I don't know if this is really something that will ever change about the average Destiny PvP connection, but it's where we're at and it's just something to be aware of. When you blink, you do have 2 hitboxes, even though that feels really unfair. What's more, I will say it is very noticeable to me that Devour actually takes like 1/10 of a second to activate. Maybe it's even a bit faster, but like I can actually feel that there's just this tiny window where the game needs a moment to register that I got Devour. And that can also be pretty frustrating when I feel like I'm thinking and acting at the appropriate speed and waiting for the game's connection to catch up. But enough griping, I think Blink is still really good and really fun, and there are some really wacky things that can happen when you blink, like the game just flinging your character model and severely damaging you, which is super funny. Part of this is understandable, like if you're standing still and you press blink right when your short hop is ending and you're coming straight down, it'll throw you into the earth, and sometimes this results in you bouncing super high, and sometimes it results in you just taking a ton of damage all of a sudden. Or on the other end of the spectrum, you'll just get launched into the air and it's inexplicable, but suddenly you're flying and you feel like a child again. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that Blink is magical, unique, mysterious, and it just feels like there's so much that we as players have yet to learn about it. But if we do, there's that promise that we will be rewarded for it, which is really cool because, to be honest, I think there could be some higher skill ceilings out there in Destiny. That'd be nice. But if you want one right now, Blink is it. Now, you might still feel skeptical, but think about it in comparison to the other subclasses out there with movement like Top Tree Dawnblade, Behemoth Titan, or any hunter with Stompies and 100 mobility. Blink actually hangs with the big dogs. I did a janky little race here with some friends from the Discord server, one of them on Top Tree Dawn with transversive steps, using only one dash at a time of course, plus sometimes a short hop, a Behemoth with Dune Marchers sprinting for a bit and then sliding, and a hunter with Stompies, just straight up jumping and sliding. And you'll notice that Blink closes that gap just as fast as the others, and sometimes in the same period of time it ends up going further or going faster. So before you write off Blink as uncompetitive, keep in mind its competition out there, which honestly ranks side by side when it comes to movement distance in a short period of time, and movement speed, where Blink actually ranks pretty high. Not to mention, Blink is a bit harder to hit than the other ones because of the sudden and rapid location change, whereas if you wanted to, you could trace a Top Tree Dawnblade as it's dashing and hopping, shooting it the entire time with no break. But you can't really do that with Blink. Anyway, long story short, I'm telling you, if you learn it, Blink can hang with the big boys. However, if you want Blink to work for you against the popular, easier subclasses out there, you're going to have to wear the exotic Astrocyte Verse. This exotic helmet allows you to blink faster and farther, keep your radar up while you are blinking, and to ready your weapons more quickly when you finish the blink animation, which requires your character to do the iconic reach and fist pull through the portal and to fling your arms to your sides and then bring your weapons back out, which sometimes can feel a bit slow, and I do think it would be best if Bungie shortened that ending animation of blink to make it easier to get at someone. But you can work with it, and Astrocyte makes it even better. It actually makes it really good. In fact, once you finish that blink animation, you get super high handling on whichever weapon you are drawing. I believe it's actually 100 handling, so it just feels like whatever gun you're drawing has pre-nerf quick draw on it, which is really slick. If you want, you can actually switch weapons mid-blink animation if you time it correctly. So when you finish the animation, you don't need to stow your primary, you're just drawing your special as soon as the animation ends, and it's getting drawn at 100 handling, which is epic. It's just that you have to wait for that blink animation to finish. Alright, I think that mostly explains Blink. You can use it in so many ways and for such amazing plays, and it's only getting better with every patch as Bungie brings the other classes' movement abilities a bit more in line. One of my favorite things to do with Blink is short hop, shoot, and then blink into cover. This is iconic, ancient Blink movement, a skill passed down from our ancestors. And it's actually a really, really good ability in PvP if you have great aim and even better timing. Okay, so Blink is super fun, and it actually can be quite good. I think I've showed that now, although it is really challenging to make it work and requires a pretty big time investment. So it's understandable why not a ton of people care to play this wily beast of a subclass when you can seriously get much more bang for your buck with the other classes and not have to spend the better part of a year honing a niche movement ability and getting destroyed in PvP while you practice it. Because let's be real, at the end of the day, most of the time you need to be a good player to do well, and if you're not, that's totally fine. It's just that using Blink Devourlock is going to be extra painful for you, whereas using other classes might be more forgiving. So that begs the question, why did I do this to myself? Why? Why did I play this thing for months and months? Well, let's set the scene. Back when I decided to switch to Blink Devourlock, Dead Man's Tale was an absolute menace across all of PvP. Stasis was still quite powerful, even on Warlock to be honest, and Chaos Reach was reaching new heights of silliness, quickly becoming one of the few subclasses used in the entirety of Trials of Osiris due to the incredibly fast supercharged broken hit registration and excellent neutral game. And that's not even to mention Top Tree Dawnblade, which is probably even more powerful than Chaos Reach at the end of the day, to be honest. Top Dawn has been an S tier pick in PvP for basically 2 whole years now since Shadowkeep came out in fall of 2019. Chaos and Dawn are so unbelievably powerful in PvP to this day that they kind of snuff out the competition, even across other classes. So long story short, there's not a lot of diversity in Warlock subclass choice because of how potent these two classes are. Even with these moderate nerfs coming into effect for Chaos and Dawn, I believe these two classes are still S tier choices for PvP, and I don't believe other Warlock subclasses will quite reach those memorable heights of efficacy that these two enjoyed for 2 full years. Long story short, it's been a good time to be a Warlock for a while now, with Titans and Hunters enjoying a brief moment of S tier status in PvP when Stasis was broken for a few months over the long dark winter, but long term, when you really zoom out, these two single Warlock subclasses have been like one of a few S tier choices in PvP for a very long time. And honestly, in PvE, Warlocks have been at the top for a while as well, with, well, plus more recently, the Stasis class, Shadebinder, being like one of 3 S tier choices for endgame content like Grandmaster Nightfalls, raids, and Master raids. I'm not saying Titan subclasses and Hunter subclasses aren't also excellent choices. They can be super effective and are oftentimes really important for a team. It's just when it comes down to these 2 or 3 Warlock classes, they're a couple steps above the rest in both PvP and PvE. When it comes down to it, if you have 2 teams of equally skilled Guardians in a Grandmaster Nightfall or in Trials of Osiris, those teams who have more Warlocks are probably going to complete more Grandmasters more quickly, or go flawless more times, or hit that Legend survival rank faster, simply based off how strong Shadebinder, Chaos Reach, and Top Tree Dawnblade are and continue to be. Please don't misconstrue this. If you're very good on your Spectral Blades Hunter, your Revenant, your Bottom Tree Golden Gun, or what have you, or you're cracked on Bottom Tree Hammers, Bottom Tree Striker, or you have a disgusting Stasis Grenades build on Behemoth, you can really give Warlocks a run for their money. And you can of course destroy them, but at the end of the day, it is undeniable that as a Titan or Hunter, you have to work twice as hard as these S tier Warlock classes to get the same outcome. And this has been true for a while now. So in PvP, Chaos Reach and Top Tree Dawn have been extremely good subclass choices for a while. There's no surprise there. So why would I switch to Blink Devourlock right in the heyday of Chaos and Dawn if it just isn't a competitive choice in PvP or in PvE where Shadebinder reigns supreme? Well, that's easy. It's because I simply don't have much fun using them. They're great, and no disrespect to you if you enjoy them. They can be super fun. And they are also very powerful at this time, kind of to a state of brokenness right now, but still, broken builds, the meta, or ridiculously overpowered stuff in Destiny 2 only holds my attention for a very short amount of time. If I want to win in a Master Vault of Glass raid or a Sweaty Trials of Osiris card, and the whole objective is to simply complete the activity, then yes, I am probably just going to use the best choice like Chaos Reach because that is the shortest way to the win condition. If my goal is to just get the loot and be done with it, then I'm using the meta or hard countering it to deny my opponents the win. But this isn't how I personally define fun in video games anymore. To set the scene, I used to go flawless every weekend for months, and I would beat my head into the wall of Trials of Osiris over and over again relentlessly until I went flawless that weekend. I'm not terrible at PvP, but compared to the people I was matching, it certainly wasn't easy to go flawless from a skill standpoint or a team morale standpoint. But still, I used to pull out a flawless like every weekend for quite a few months there. And you can do that if you really want to, like almost anyone can. You can put on Chaos or Dawn and a sword and a grenade launcher and you can go flawless. You can do that if you want to. It is really just a matter of how much patience you have and using common sense and using the meta, and then of course getting lucky matchmaking. Or becoming so good you can win all the time, but these days there are a few things out there that are basically uncounterable. Anyway, long story short, if you want to, eventually you will go flawless. These days, once you reach a certain level of game sense and aiming ability in Destiny PvP, going flawless is just a matter of time and luck. So you can go flawless, and that is awesome if that is what you are going for, and I sincerely wish you luck and I hope you get that dub. No joke. I mean that even if you match me on my flawless match. If you use broken builds more effectively than me in PvP and you beat me and you aren't cheating, I sincerely mean this. Good job. Well done, you deserve to win, and I am happy for you if you got what you wanted, legitimately. I might be annoyed by how difficult it feels to play around your build, but if you aren't cheating, then I can either find a counter to what you're doing or I can abuse the meta loadouts better than you. That's up to me, and I have zero reason to be upset if you win. And vice versa, if I win and I'm not cheating, my opponents have zero reason to be upset. They can be frustrated, sure, but they can either use the meta better than me or counter me. That is up to them. Long story short, there is nothing wrong with wanting to win and working as hard as you can to make that happen. And at the very same time, there is nothing wrong with having an entirely different metric for measuring success or fun in Destiny, or any game for that matter. And that is where I'm at these days. For me, fun in this particular video game is no longer tied entirely to winning. It is not tied to just getting the loot for me or the win. And that's just where I'm at. This whole "if you had fun you won" idea might sound cheesy and pathetic to you, but seriously, trying to have the most fun possible is honestly a next level way to think about a video game that I think a lot of people have forgotten or never knew in the first place. I have come to terms with that being totally okay over the course of years, particularly this last year, and it feels very good, and it has actually made me an extremely better player. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, but my performance has increased a lot from where I started. I've been playing this game since Taken King in Destiny 1, and when my playtime really picked up was when Forsaken dropped in September of 2018. I came and went through burnout cycles in PvP, and I was on PS4 forever, which was kinda rough, but then I finally built a PC a few months after Shadowkeep, and I really started gaming when early 2020 hit, obviously. That's also when Trials of Osiris came out, March 13th, 2020, and I fell for Destiny 2 PvP hard. I started feeling obsessive about PvP performance, and I would play Trials of Osiris every single weekend, basically measuring my happiness based on whether I was able to go flawless. I started being able to go flawless consistently, and sometimes I could do it several times in one weekend, and it felt really good. But when I didn't have time, or the cheaters or account recoveries were just too strong in a given weekend, or I couldn't get sweaty enough teammates, I was pretty dang sad. At the time, this was an easy way for me to ignore the world around me and not let scary things creep in like isolation, loneliness, sadness, and of course the ever-growing deep-set 2020 horror about the country I live in. It was a dark time to be alive back then, but I'm extremely fortunate to have a lot of privilege and only have one family member die that year, my aunt. Forcing myself to only tie my emotions to actions in a video game was an extremely effective way of only letting my own actions affect my emotions and no outside factors. For a while, it was pretty effective, and if I went flawless in Trials of Osiris, I was then able to go out into the world feeling strong and invincible, equipped to be a positive presence in a shitty reality, because I had defined my reality entirely by performance in a video game. Ridiculous, I know. I didn't even realize I had gotten to that point, but I did. Of course, because it was a game, and it was pretty random who I'd match with in a given weekend, I was still barely in control. But I think this is probably what my brain was craving the most, just letting go. An excuse that if I felt awful after reading the news or something, I could tell myself that's because you haven't won enough, and you haven't won enough because you need to work harder. So I did. I was new to mouse and keyboard, and I'm still not excellent by any means, but I just kept throwing myself into trials over and over and over again and failing and winning until there was nothing left but my performance to affect my mental health. And it was a very effective coping mechanism, truly giving me comfort and a sense of control in a world that lacked either of those things so much. And sometimes that's just what we need. But at the same time, it undermined me a lot because there is still a huge luck factor in Trials, and there still is. And of course, it was a video game, so it wasn't really indicative of true reality, which is much more complex when it comes to one's mental health. I lost myself in Trials, and it felt like such a good blindfold. But as I started coming out of the haze of 2020, I realized how twisted my relationship with this game had become, and I started feeling a natural shift to something better. I started realizing life was really short, and I just wanted to have fun more than anything else and feel joy. I started having more fun with weird builds or unique guns like Fighting Lion. I started playing scrims with well-defined rule sets and non-toxic communities. I started quitting Trials for the weekend if it just wasn't working out after a few tries. And I started playing a lot more PvE, genuinely enjoying Grandmaster Nightfalls and raids just for their organically fun gameplay and the teamwork aspect. I made more friends, raided with them until our hands hurt, and eventually I started a Discord server to gather kind people who just wanted to game and enjoy themselves. And I was having so much more fun with Destiny as a whole. Not to mention, I also started mixing in Apex Legends, Civilization 5, and other fun things like outdoor socializing, creating videos for my YouTube channel, and cooking with family members. Slowly but surely, little glimmers of light started showing through the cracks, and in spring of 2021, 1 year later, I felt very different about Destiny, and it was awesome. Now, today, how I have fun with Destiny is in the moment. It is the actual gameplay I am experiencing in the moment, the shots I am firing moment to moment, the cool build I have on, the people I'm playing with, my drip, my movement, the team coordination, the plays I'm making, and the constant potential to be better and get a cool new thing to happen. These are now the ways I have fun with Destiny, and realizing that this is true for me feels absolutely incredible. I used to primarily play this game for the loot or the completion of an activity like go flawless or get the god roll or get the material or get a higher count on the emblem. And honestly, I don't really give a shit about all that stuff anymore. It just genuinely does not matter to me. I am here for the gameplay, the actual moment-to-moment events in the game. That is how I define fun in a video game now, and it will continue to be that way for me probably forever. Life is short, and I do not have the patience to suffer through hours of playing a video game in a way I do not enjoy to simply get a chance at getting better video game loot. That just does not compute for my brain anymore. It is just not what I am here for anymore, not after 2020, not after a year of death and meaningless gameplay, not when there is so much joy to be had by just living in the present and doing things because they are organically fun. And the extremely cool thing is, once I let go of that mindset of doing anything it takes to win, I became a better player. I got so much better at PvP. It felt like the chains of the meta just fell off of me and my mind was free to see the bigger picture. The scrub mentality melted away and I could see clearly. Now I was playing to have fun, to be better simply because it was fun. To get cool clips, to understand a unique facet of the game I didn't have the headspace for earlier, and I grew. Now, when I encounter challenges, I wonder what unique build could be a cool counter, how I could have played better, how best I can have fun, and in short, I grow as a player each day and become smarter and faster and more adaptable, and above all else, I'm having fun. Playing for fun is the best way to play a game, and it lets you rise above, see the big picture, and hit that next level mindset. It's basically flow state, but it's like this next level long-term flow state, and I love the feeling of it. I think it is crucial for you and for me to understand how my mentality has shifted when playing Destiny or any video game, because me just saying I put on Blink Devourlock for 3 months, on the surface that sounds cute and fun and challenging, but it also sounds a little pretentious too. But I promise you that is not what this is. I am all about playing this game for fun in the moment, and I hope you now understand why. I am here for fun PvP matches where I feel like I'm performing well, even if I lose. I am here for completing raids with my friends or completing Grandmaster Nightfalls using only free-to-play gear. I am here to help others out. I am here for learning new things and improving my gameplay across all activities, whether I am winning or losing. That is what makes me happy and keeps me coming back. Doing anything necessary to grind out perfect loot or a higher flawless count on my Trials emblem is not where it's at for me, and that is totally okay. And at the same time, if gathering a Scrooge McDuck epic vault with every god roll is where it's at for you, or hitting that emblem count of 100 flawlesses is where it's at for you, or getting that Unbroken title, that Conqueror title, then by all means, I am not going to stop you. No matter where you fall on that spectrum of fun and Scrooge McDuck epic vault, do your thing. And furthermore, if I see loot I really want because it can make my day-to-day in PvP more weird or fun, then I'll probably throw on Anarchy and Stasis or Chaos and Geomags and happily join you in that PvE or PvP grind. Or if the meta seems fun to me, I'm going to use it, shamelessly. It's just that getting that completion or that loot or that win won't be my primary driver anymore, because today, for me, I define fun in a different way. It's made me a better person, a way better player, and it feels amazing. Thank you for listening, and I hope it makes sense now. I'm here to have fun, because that's where it's at. Alright, that wraps up this video. I'm probably going to reference it going forward whenever I need to, because it's easier to sum up my philosophy here and then just point to the video down the road when I need to explain myself. And if my philosophy on this game changes, I'll let you know of course, but for now, I feel really happy with this message acting as a summary of how I play Destiny and why I play Destiny, which is for fun, because it's fun. Thank you for watching. Bye.